Godzilla, King of the Monsters is set to follow up a film that reimagined cinema's favorite fire-breathing behemoth and left everyone with plenty of questions. Like, how does the movie connect to its predecessors? And is Godzilla really the king, or is he just some scaly-ass poser? Don't worry, we've got the answers you're looking for. A host of stars are joining the Godzilla family for King of the Monsters. The star-studded cast includes the Conjuring franchise veteran Vera Farmiga as paleobiologist Dr. Emma Russell, Stranger Things darling Millie Bobby Brown as Madison Russell, and Friday Night Lights alum Kyle Chandler as animal behavior expert Dr. Mark Russell, Emma's ex-husband. Though there are more than a handful of new characters to meet in Godzilla King of the Monsters, the film doesn't go without a few returning favorites. The actors returning for King of the Monsters include Ken Watanabe and Sally Hawkins. Watanabe slips back into the crisp white lab coat of his Godzilla character Dr. Ishiro Serizawa, a scientist at the cryptozoological organization Monarch. Hawkins will be back as Serizawa's right-hand woman, Dr. Vivian Graham. Another actor coming back for King of the Monsters, Godzilla himself. Professional stuntman TJ Storm reprises the monstrous role in a motion capture performance. The vast majority of sequels use the ending of their direct precursors as a springboard to launch into new narrative territory. Godzilla King of the Monsters is no exception. Set in 2019, 5 years after 2014's Godzilla, King of the Monsters centers around the members of Monarch as they go head-to-head with a battery of god-sized monsters. And by that, we mean Godzilla and his 3 foes, Rodan, Ghidorah, and Mothra. Mankind once believed the ancient superspecies collectively known as Titans were the stuff of fiction. The Titans are all too real and threaten humanity's existence when they rise to fight for dominance. Godzilla King of the Monsters also sees Dr. Emma Russell and her daughter Madison get kidnapped by a mysterious organization that wants to use Emma's intellect and inventiveness, as well as Madison's strange connection with Mothra, for nefarious purposes. Emma feels humans and Titans can coexist peacefully, but after experiencing a great loss, her ex-husband Mark doesn't agree. Despite holding a negative view of the monsters, Mark teams with Monarch's Dr. Ishiro Serizawa and Dr. Vivian Graham to rescue Emma and Madison. Godzilla King of the Monsters will bring Mothra, Rodan, and Ghidorah back to the big screen, and we've got the skinny on who the 3 creatures are and how they'll be depicted. A colossal moth-like being, Mothra will be both beautiful and deadly in King of the Monsters. Director Michael Dougherty aimed to give her a realistic appearance, including long legs that help her fight against and defend herself from her adversaries. Rodan, on the other hand, is a pterodactyl-like monster, described by Dougherty as a massive A-bomb and a bit of a rogue with incredible physical power. Dougherty elaborated, "You never quite know where his loyalties lie. Godzilla is more of a lumbering, plotting presence. It takes him a couple of days to destroy a city like Tokyo. Rodan can level it without even thinking. As for Ghidorah, the 3-headed dragon beast is Godzilla's ultimate nemesis. That each of his heads has its own different personality, 1 alpha and 2 lackeys, makes Ghidorah even more formidable than Godzilla's other challengers."
Good thing he's on our side.
The title of Godzilla King of the Monsters tells audiences all they need to know about the monster's ranking in the Titan hierarchy. He's the big kahuna, the grand poobah, the top banana. But what about where Godzilla stands on the hero-villain binary? As Bradley Whitford's Dr. Stanton states in one of the film's trailers, Godzilla is on our side and can help save mankind from being eradicated as soon as Monarch sets him free. Though Godzilla isn't out to harm humans, not everyone is totally willing to consider him the good guy. O'Shea Jackson Jr., whose character Barnes leads Monarch's military crew, the G-Team, told Fandango that Godzilla is a heroic protector. Speaking as a Godzilla fan, I always hated those humans who acted like Godzilla didn't just save their ass. What happened in San Francisco in 2014 in Godzilla, from what I can see, he holds down the Pacific, so California seems safe. So I'm down with that. On the converse, Kyle Chandler, whose Dr. Mark Russell has a troubled history with the Titans, isn't a fan of any of the Titans, Godzilla included, explaining, "They're mean, ugly, dangerous, and they've caused havoc with Mark's family. Looks like some will be hesitant to bow down to the king. That could be their undoing, or give Godzilla the chance to prove them wrong." Godzilla King of the Monsters may be as fresh as it can be in terms of its time setting, taking place in 2019, the same year of its release, but it also incorporates elements of the past. Talking with Fandango, director Michael Dougherty detailed that the concept of the King of the Monsters is rooted in the mythology that the world belongs to the Titans, since they were on Earth long before humans came along. In his words, humans are the invasive species, and Titans are, quote, the old gods, the first gods. He also shared that King of the Monsters gives the creatures, according to him, a more mythological, almost biblical backdrop when exploring their history. Dougherty explained, "These creatures were once worshipped by some ancient civilization. I really love that about the old movies, that Mothra was this deity. It really opened up the mythology. In simple terms, King of the Monsters sees ancient mythology clash with the modern day, bringing humans and godlike beasts together at the same point in time. It's a union partially motivated by a childhood wish of Dougherty, who said, as a kid, it always bummed me out that dinosaurs never actually crossed paths with humans. So I'm saying that." The 5-year break between Godzilla and King of the Monsters leaves a lot of time unaccounted for, though we can't say for certain whether King of the Monsters will explain the in-world events that went down between 2014 and 2019, or how the film will address the gap. We assure you that another piece of Godzilla content definitely will. As of 10 days ahead of King of the Monsters' May 31st debut, fans can dig into Godzilla Aftershock. The Legendary Comics published tie-in prequel graphic novel takes place in the time after Godzilla and before King of the Monsters, and sets the stage for the sequel. Written by Arvid Nelson with artwork by Drew Edward Johnson, Godzilla Aftershock continues the plot laid out in Godzilla, seeing an all-new monster, Muto Prime, ascend from deep within the planet, and Godzilla battle an unstoppable primal instinct that challenges his inner strength. The graphic novel also introduces several characters from King of the Monsters, as Dr. Emma Russell and the members of Monarch try to put an end to the creature and attempt to piece together the truth behind a past tragedy of apocalyptic proportions that is resurfacing again. As Godzilla fights in a rivalry that spans as many years as the Earth has been a planet, Emma unravels secrets beyond anyone's wildest imagination. King of the Monsters is about more than a bunch of behemoths trading blows. In fact, it carries a message about environmentalism, the role humans play in the destruction of planet Earth, and the importance of science in our modern society. Director Michael Dougherty told Fandango, "In a time when, in our current climate, where science is being constantly questioned and targeted, the idea of creating a film where scientists are heroes, I thought was really important."
So you'd want to make Godzilla our pet?
No. We would be his.
Star Vera Farmiga even described the movie as being more about environmentalism than your average monster-filled flick, which is what drew her to the project. Nowadays, you'd be hard-pressed to find a modern film that doesn't deliver fan service in the form of Easter eggs. They've become the norm in contemporary cinema, with audiences practically squirming in their seats at the thought of finding every last hidden secret tucked inside a new release. It should come as a little surprise that Godzilla King of the Monsters will continue this trend, but what you should know about the sneaky references is that some will set up the future of the Godzilla franchise. Actor O'Shea Jackson Jr. told Fandango during a set visit in 2017 that he was, quote, nerding out really hard over the Easter eggs in King of the Monsters, and said that fans will have a blast trying to uncover them all. Director Michael Dougherty piggybacked off Jackson Jr.'s remarks when he told Entertainment Weekly that the film will also tease the introduction of another famous movie creature post-King of the Monsters, King Kong. Dougherty shared, "It's not like we're bending over backwards to introduce Kong, but there's definitely some breadcrumbs. Grab your binoculars and a basket before heading out to see King of the Monsters, as the moviegoing experience sounds like it will double as a massive Easter egg hunt." Godzilla King of the Monsters is no average sequel. It expands the revived world that Godzilla set up and calls back to the old-school monster movies produced by Toho, the Japanese company responsible for 32 Godzilla films. It also sets up a new cinematic universe packed with monsters and centered on Monarch's undertakings that will stretch across multiple releases. King of the Monsters not only serves as the sequel to Godzilla, but also as the next entry in Warner Bros.' initial trio of MonsterVerse movies, which see Godzilla exist among a wide variety of other giant supermonsters, new and old. Additionally, director Michael Dougherty once mentioned that King of the Monsters hinges on something of a crossover event, as the film unites the creatures featured in Toho's classics. Dougherty told the folks at Fandango, "Outside of the Universal classic monster movies, Toho is one of the first companies to pioneer the idea of a shared universe. They were doing it long before Marvel was. Mothra was a completely separate film from Godzilla when it started. Same thing with Rodan. So it kind of feels like things are coming full circle with King of the Monsters." Before Godzilla King of the Monsters even released its first trailer, the bigwigs at Warner Bros. And Legendary Pictures announced plans for a sequel. You know, that third entry into the studio's Godzilla trilogy, the last piece of the first wave of MonsterVerse movies. And the film that the King of the Monsters will tease with its references to King Kong? That one. Aptly entitled Godzilla vs. Kong, the King of the Monsters sequel has Death Note's Adam Wingard on board as director, with many cast members back in the fold. The plot of Godzilla vs. Kong will center around a brutal brawl between Godzilla and the gorilla-like monster monkey. The film, which stars Alexander Skarsgård as the leader of a military unit, as well as Rebecca Hall, Jessica Henwick, Brian Tyree Henry, and more, also focuses on humanity's fight for its future. Monarch's mission to discover the truth about the Titans and a conspiracy that threatens to end life on Earth continues. Make no mistake though, there will be a clear winner of the titular battle when it all goes down on March 13th, 2020. As Wingard once confirmed, "I do want people to walk away from this film feeling like, okay, there is a winner."
Long live the king.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.